What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. This one's uncontested. The best damn SummerSlam there is, there was, and probably there ever will be. It felt like the end of a new era and a dawning of a new one. HBK was back. The Rock was leaving. New stars emerged, and overall a tremendous pay-per-view which gives any SummerSlam that followed or preceded a run for its money. Hell, any pay-per-view that followed in general or preceded it gives it a run for its money. Personally, I'm excited to watch the entire event. Last time I watched it was back in 2014 when I had this cringe-ass website, this wrestling review site where I used to review pay-per-views. That's a story for another day, but back to the task at hand. SummerSlam 2002. Now for a little context, WWE in 2002, the company at this point was going through some change. Rock was heading to Hollywood, Austin walked out, and new stars came from out of nowhere. He seemed like they were hell-bent on finding their next stars that year. Guys like Edge, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, and Rey Mysterio were pushed, while guys like John Cena, Batista, and Randy Orton were developing. Anyways, this is going to be a good one. SummerSlam 2002 emanated from the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York on August 25, 2002. The Coliseum had 14,797 in attendance to witness one of the very best pay-per-views ever. The buy rate for the event was 540,000, slightly down from the 565,000 of SummerSlam 2001. The theme song for the event was Fight by Jim Johnston, and he was even used in the promo for the HBK and Triple H Unsanctioned match. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into it. The first match was fast-paced. Kurt Angle faced Rey Mysterio. Now, this match is up there with the best openers. As a matter of fact, this is probably the best match to go under 10 minutes. Bell to bell, you blink, you miss. The pop that Angle got was massive. The "you suck" chants were very loud too, and at this point, Angle had just gotten his head shaved 3 months earlier. And also, I almost forgot, Michael Cole and Taz were calling the action for SmackDown, while Raw featured Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. Anyways, Rey Mysterio's music played, but R.E.Y. was nowhere to be found. Off the top rope, Rey goes. He hits a Hurricanrana. Angle tried catching up with him, but he failed. Once he did, he tried the ankle lock, but he was unsuccessful. It took a while, but Angle managed to slow down the pace. Angle sucks chance intensified as the Olympic hero delivered a slam of sorts. Despite his efforts, Rey managed to avoid a couple of Kurt Angle's moves. Sure, he took punishment, but the little opening Rey finds, he manages to frustrate the Olympic gold medalist. The Olympic hero targeted the back for a bit, and Rey attempted to fight back, but Angle refused to succumb to Rey's aerial offense. He locked Mysterio in a half Boston Crab. The crowd started to get behind Rey, but Angle was still in control. Mr. 619, though, found an opening. From there on, it was Tom and Jerry. The little guy gets one over the big guy, and the crowd was truly invested in the match with every move. Angle catches Rey's leg, no problem. He pushes him right into the ropes. Boom, 619. 1, 2, nope. Rey hit some of his crazy offense, but then Angle caught him off guard with the ankle lock. Rey's fingertips made it to the ropes, but Angle dragged him right to the middle of the ring to force a tap out. Damn. This match, fast-paced, I don't even think I did it justice. You gotta go watch it for yourself. Angle was a man of his word. He was gonna make Rey tap out. Overall, a fun match, and it felt like the atmosphere of WWE changed gradually when Rey debuted. He brought this very fresh style that wasn't seen in WWE main events. It wasn't the Cruiserweight division, but like on the upper card, there wasn't a guy like him. That's what I'm trying to say. He brought fresh matches with him, like Angle. This is a matchup I never seen him fight in beforehand. 2001, 2099, there was no match that featured this level of pace, this level of intensity, in my opinion. So for this one, 4 stars, why not? It checked off every box. Great action, great story, got the crowd popping, so there's that. The only bad part about this match was the fact that it was short. That's all. Backstage, Stephanie McMahon discovered the Raw GM, Eric Bischoff, in her office. They argued over who's the superior brand before sitting down to watch this show. Now, this doesn't relate. It kind of does. The brand split felt so different in 2002. Like, you didn't know what could happen. Is Big Show defecting? Is there a mole on Raw? And it's such a shame that they never really kept that going past 2002, because once 2003 rolled around, we didn't see that stuff like the free agent thing with Scott Steiner. That was cool. The next match was between Chris Jericho and Ric Flair. At this point, Y2J fell back to the mid-card scene after WrestleMania 18, while Ric Flair's storyline fell hard. One moment he owned half of the WWE, the next season employee of the damn company. He was on the level of Vince McMahon in storyline, but he fell down. Also, he didn't believe he was the same guy he previously was. This was in real life, by the way. He thought he wasn't as good as he was previously, and it was true, but he sold himself a little bit short there. So in the beginning, Jericho was disrespectful. He had a couple of slams on Flair. JR criticized Fozzy, and that's something I've heard a lot of. Flair fought back with those rough knife-edge chops, but it didn't do much in the grand scheme of things because Y2J managed to weather the storm by dominating. Despite Flair's efforts, he always found himself back in square one. Jericho bent the rules for a couple of seconds, and at this point, he was clearly in control. But then he was unceremoniously thrown off of the top rope. Flair managed to regain some energy, and it was comeback time. Not for long, though. From there, it was fairly even. Flair was locked in the figure 4, and he just struggled to get out. The crowd, though, was behind his side, but Flair tapped out. But not before grabbing the rope. Jericho celebrated, but Charles Robinson, Little Nate, reminded Jericho that the match had yet to conclude. He shoved him and he bounced off the ropes after Flair moved out of the way. Then the Nature Boy showed off some of his dubious tactics by low-blowing Chris Jericho, and he then locked him in the figure four, and after a couple of seconds, he miraculously won. In the storyline, this was a pretty big upset. Why? Because Flair didn't get much offense in. He was just chopping Jericho. He tried locking him in the figure four throughout the match, and that's it. That was what his offense was in a nutshell. Other than that, he was receiving punishment. Now for this one, 3 stars. It might be a generous, but who cares? I enjoyed it. I like the story, simply put. Flair was an old dog that struggled to fight the young blood, but he brought out the best in him. He cheated, and in the end, he actually got the win. And also, Chris Jericho claims to be the one who got Flair motivated and got him back on track. That's what he claims in his book. And maybe it's true because after this, Flair was not that guy anymore, like the guy that was losing confidence. In storyline, he was for a couple of weeks, but not really. Like, he was confident once again. Backstage, Paul Heyman was hyping up Lesnar ahead of his matchup with The Rock. The next match was between Eddie Guerrero and Edge. This feud, seriously underrated. I would have made a video on it, but that would be wrong because it must be part of a SmackDown 6 vid. Anyways, Eddie was in a really great place at this point. He was better than he was in his last run from a physical and a mental standpoint. Even from a professional standpoint, he was an even bigger deal than he was previously. As for Edge, he was a star on the rise. We all know how it turned out for him, but if he wasn't injured, I believe he would have reached the top of the mountain earlier and in a different way. Anyways, the match begins. Edge took control early on after the feeling out process. They did some fun sequences such as this. Both men showed some intensity. Edge speared Eddie on the ropes. He did it a second time, but he failed. This tweaked Edge's shoulder, and Eddie, like a shark, smelled blood. Latino, he targeted that shoulder with no mercy, and he was hitting some mean moves on that shoulder, and it was his number one priority. Edge couldn't get over this at all, and this part of the match showed Eddie's experience in the ring. He didn't touch a single body part, barring the shoulder. As for Edge, he finally fought back, and he even got a near fall. He managed to gain time by throwing Eddie out of there, but he himself didn't want to take a breather, and instead he went for an aerial move that basically did him no favors because it re-injured his shoulder. Eddie then went up to the top rope to drop Edge, but Edge pushed him down, and then he attempted the spear, but Eddie was aware. He drop-kicked Edge not in the face, but the shoulder. He then went for the frog splash, but Edge put his knees up. Edge attempted the execution. Latino, he bounced back with a belly-to-belly with a bridge before attempting the frog splash. Edge tried blocking by going up to the top rope, but he failed. And Latino, he hit the frog splash on the shoulder. 1, 2, 3. No, Edge kicked out. Damn. I didn't think he was winning. No lie. I thought Eddie had it in the bag, and I'm glad I don't remember the result of this match. Then Edge fought back, and 2 seconds later, he caught Eddie off guard with the spear. 1, 2, 3. Great match. And like his song says, you can't stop him. Never gonna stop me. It's true. Eddie hit all those moves on that shoulder, but it wasn't enough. Like, Edge, he was resilient. So for me, it's 3.25 stars. I like the story there, Eddie following the shoulder and showing off just how great his in-ring prowess was. So yeah, 3.25, yeah. Backstage, Christian and the Un-Americans ridiculed the Americans. They called the U.S. lazy, ungrateful, spoiled, a bunch of stuff, and at this point, they were the most hated heels in the WWE. The next match was for the World Tag Team Championships. Booker T and Goldust challenged the Un-Americans, Christian and Lance Storm, for the gold. Looking at the Un-Americans, they were getting massive heat, and if Christian wasn't scared, maybe, just maybe, he could have rose to the top of the card earlier on. I'm not sure, though. And obviously, they hated these guys because they were going against the patriotic U.S. So the bell rings. Christian ran up to Goldust, who managed to assert his dominance. By the way, I love that move. Once Booker T entered the match, he was unstoppable. Lance and Christian struggled to get into it, and it took a while, though, for them to get back in it, and it was only because of Christian's distraction and Storm's bending of the rules. The duo managed to finally take control and isolate Goldust. Storm made a timing mistake, and this benefited Goldust, if only for a moment. Christian entered the match and kept Goldie grounded, but at a moment's notice, Booker was tagged in. He caused mayhem, but the ref didn't notice him, so it didn't count. This allowed the Un-Americans to take back control of the match. Goldust did do something about this, but this resulted in himself and Christian receiving a clothesline. Ref counted all the way up to 8. Christian tried dragging Goldust away from his corner, and then Storm pushed Booker T. The Un-Americans took this time to bring out chairs and attempt a concerto behind the ref's back. Goldust ducked, and finally, the tag was made. Booker punished the unapologetic duo, and he almost got the scissors kick, but Christian countered. Then Storm accidentally kicked the ref. Booker hit the scissors kick finally on both of them before once again kicking the hell out of Christian. 1, 2, 3, 4. The ref's down. Then a bunch of shenanigans occurred. Storm brought in a belt that didn't connect. Test interfered, and he booted him, and Christian went for the cover. 1, 2, 3. The crowd was pretty hot for this one, and despite Booker and Goldust's performance, the match was out of their hands. Like, they did what they had to do, but there was external interference, stuff like that. Test and the other guys were just breaking the rules the entire time. I personally liked the story in the match itself, so 3 stars. At the World in Times Square, freaking Jamie Noble's hosting a tonsil hockey contest with his girlfriend playing along, which I didn't even understand at all. Like, what the hell is going on here? Meanwhile, Eric Bischoff and Stephanie disagreed on the outcome of the IC title match, which leads me to the next match, which was for the Intercontinental Championship. Chris Benoit, a part of SmackDown, defended the title against Rob Van Dam of Monday Night Raw. The title was blurred because of the WWF logo, which I found weird. Yeah. Both men were inches away from the main event scene at this point, and you could feel like they just needed to do one more thing in order to reach the top of the company. They were just, I wouldn't say they were missing something, but the company, thought they were lacking. Although I don't really see why they were lacking. In the beginning, Van Dam delivered some mean kicks. Benoit took notice of RVD's game plan and began grounding the challenger. Despite this, Van Dam fought back with those educated feet, but Benoit, he was mean. He delivered a German suplex that managed to greatly benefit. Benoit succeeded in grounding Van Dam for the moment, and he delivered a snap suplex, targeted the shoulder neck area, and every time RVD fought back with some of his unorthodox moves, Benoit delivers a clothesline. And when he got a chance, Benoit drove his knees in the abdomen. Benoit attempted the headbutt, but he failed because Van Dam moved out of the way. This happened again, but on the other side. You know, RVD tried the frog splash, but Benoit put his knees up. Chris Benoit then locked RVD in the crossface, and he was in a hell of a lot of trouble. But his educated feet got him to the ropes. The Rabbit Wolverine continued to keep RVD grounded, and once again Van Dam gets a small window. Benoit's there to drop him like a bad habit. This shoulder and neck area proved to be a major liability for Rob Van Dam as Benoit refused to give him a breather. He boosted the tempo in order to deliver a mean elbow, and the Rabbit Wolverine locked the challenger in a hold. He tried to escape, but Benoit locked him in another hold, but that didn't help either because Van Dam himself countered. This gave him a moment to hit the Rolling Thunder, which he didn't because Benoit used that split second to lock him in the crossface. Despite escaping, RVD was thrown into the post shoulder first, and Benoit continued working on the shoulder. He then hit a hat trick of Northern Light suplexes before locking in the crippler crossface. Damn, that was a good sequence, and I just wonder, why didn't Benoit use this in his future matches? Van Dam, though, had the wherewithal to counter. The crowd finally got excited, but the excitement was turned into silence once again. Well, at this moment, it was RVD who finally fought back. For real this time, he had a missile dropkick, a step-over kick, and then the Rolling Thunder. He managed to evade Benoit's counters, but then he landed on the turnbuckle. Van Dam, though, countered Benoit's back body drop midair before hitting a sudden 5-star frog splash. 1, 2, 3. He wins. Now, from one perspective, it seemed like RVD didn't get much offense in, but throughout the match, he did have his moments. There wasn't a long moment where RVD was in control completely. He did get his shots in throughout the match, and that proved to be effective. And in the end, it was he who won. Benoit during the match was like a pit bull. He refused to give RVD moments to fight back, so the challenger had to dig down very deep, and now the title's on Raw. Yes, RVD throughout the match, he got his shots in, despite not being the dominant one. That's what I'm trying to say, and those shots were enough for him to hit the 5-star frog splash and win. So for this one, 3 3/4. I really liked it, and there wasn't really a dull moment. Everything made sense to me. Yeah, that's what I think about this match. I wasn't so sure how great it was going to be. I heard it was good beforehand, and I actually did watch it, but that was a long-ass time ago, and I was way younger back then, so yeah. The next match was between Test and The Undertaker. Story of this one, Test and the Un-Americans think America sucks for many reasons. And The Undertaker is American and a good guy, so he refused to take crap from them. He had just come off that awesome Big Evil run, and he was all good. This was the final iteration of his American Badass character, just a note. In the beginning, collar and elbow tie-up, shoulder tackle, and it was Taker who initially had control. He was about to hit the old school, but Test shoved the ref right into the ropes. This gave way to Test on the offense. He punished Taker for a bit, and despite fighting back, Big Evil couldn't match his intensity at this point. He tried isolating the shoulder for a bit, but The Undertaker managed to fight back. They went back and forth, and finally, he was in control. The Undertaker got the old school, Test stopped Taker's offense for a bit, but then he got the choke slam. He managed to kick out despite this, and then the Un-Americans got involved, and they got their asses handed to them. Test then comes in with the big boot. 1, 2, Taker kicks out. He grew frustrated with the kick out, and he brought in a steel chair. Jack Doan tried to take away the chair. He failed, and this didn't benefit Test at all. He got booted before receiving the Tombstone Pile Driver. The Undertaker fended off the jabronis with ease. He grabbed the American flag from the crowd and raised it proudly. Overall, this match, 2.5 for me. I thought it was much better than I expected it to be honest. Like, I thought it was going to be slow and stuff like that, but I liked it, yeah. Not bad. 2.5. Okay, now it was serious time. This is what I assume you guys were waiting for. The main events. The next match was between Triple H and the returning Shawn Michaels in an unsanctioned match. This match was a pretty big deal at the time. It was believed Michaels would never return. Could compare this to something currently, it's like Daniel Bryan's return times 10. Because there was always a possibility D. Bryan returned, but HBK, it was only a small glimmer of hope. Also, the promo for this damn match was awesome. Triple H showed off his treacherous side, HBK called him out on it, and the attack, and the pop he received when he said that the match between them should happen at SummerSlam was great. Shawn Michaels was probably the best wrestler of the 90s. Now he's back, and will he be the same? Like, Triple H was always out there wrestling on a weekly basis, and how is HBK going to survive a beating from the game? Like, even if he does come back, he's going to get his ass kicked and he might never return. That's what the story was. Also, this match wasn't supposed to happen originally. It was supposed to be Kevin Nash versus Triple H, rumor has it, with HBK on Nash's side as a heel. But due to Nash tearing his quad, those plans were thrown out the window. Michaels versus Vince was also considered too, but it never happened. Also, just to note, this match was supposed to be a one-and-done situation. HBK wrestles once again, or retires. He made his way out there confident in himself as expected. He donned some boots and jeans befitting the style of the match. As for Triple H, he shaved. Also, that sign resonates with me. I do hate bad games. Upon entering the ring, HBK threw a towel right into the game's face to gain the early advantage. Triple H struggled and HBK brought out some weapons. He trashed the game, and at this point, that game didn't give much. And at one point, HBK was ready to wrap it up, but Triple H went for the bullseye, the back. Michaels felt pain and agony, so Triple H delivered another backbreaker. The crowd loudly chanted, HBK, HBK. And Triple H even did the DX crotch chop. He continued to go after the isolated back, and if those shots weren't enough, Triple H delivered a rough chair shot. Despite the broken back, Michaels still had fight in him, but Triple H definitely brought the fight. He DDT'd Michaels right onto the steel chair, but it wasn't enough. It was enough, however, to bust HBK open. He then whipped Michaels like a government mule with a belt. The game decided that wasn't enough, so we brought in the sledgehammer. Michaels fought back, though. The crowd got on his side, but Triple H managed to halt his momentum by sending him into the turnbuckle with a mean Irish whip before locking him in the abdominal stretch. JR begged for him to just quit. He said that HBK's return now, he's proved us wrong. That's it, like he should just give up. Earl Hebner saw enough of this and he shouted at the game to knock it off. This was because Triple H was using weapons and he was looking to end the career of HBK, not just win the match. The game then fouled himself right down on the mat. Michaels was preparing to hit that elbow, but the game shoved the ref right into the ropes. This left Michaels' back exposed to a Triple H steel chair shot. And if that wasn't enough, Triple H had a backbreaker on top of a chair. Seriously, the game of the early 2000s was just too detestable. Sure, he was overexposed, but you didn't like his character at all. That's one thing for sure. He then delivered a sidewalk slam on top of the chair, and Shawn Michaels kicked out once again. HBK chants intensified in the Nassau Coliseum, and the game decided to wrap it up with a pedigree, but Michaels managed to low blow him. The fans tried to get Shawn back into it, and he slowly started to get back on his feet. Then Triple H, with a chair in his hand, walked straight into a sweet chin music. Michaels couldn't go for the cover, though, but the silver lining in this is the fact that Triple H was busted open. He delivered a flurry, a slow flurry of punches before knocking him down with that elbow. Then, Michaels quickly and suddenly kipped up. JR was shocked. By God, HBK nipped up. The fans were cheering and Triple H was in trouble. The chair shot Michaels gave him sounded like a gunshot. And Shawn Michaels then returned the favor to the game with that leather belt. Jerry Lawler believed that this could be HBK's night. We want tables chants echoed in the arena as Shawn Michaels blasted Triple H with a boot. He then bulldogged Triple H right onto the steps, and if that wasn't enough, Triple H got a ladder rammed into his face. He did get some offense in, but not much, and he was superplexed off the top rope. Following this, Triple H finally weathered the storm for a bit. He brought in some steel steps that did him no favors, and Michaels had so much momentum at this point. HBK then brought in a table. He placed a game on it, and as he was climbing the ladder, he realized that maybe, just maybe, he is crazy. And off the top rope, he jumped through Triple H and through the table. And if that wasn't enough, he climbed the ladder. He dedicated this jump to the fans. He told them that he loves them before jumping once again and hitting the elbow. But that wasn't enough. Michaels rose from the ashes, and he was ready to tune up the band. It was time for some sweet chin music. No, pedigree. Neither that. Why? Because Michaels countered and rolled up the game. 1, 2, 3. He wins. 4 years out, and he's won the match. HBK is back. Oh, hell no. The game decides to blast him with a sledgehammer twice. Triple H walked away with no remorse, and as a matter of fact, it was the opposite. It was a damn smile. Triple H was happy to vanquish, to get rid of Shawn Michaels. HBK chants were loud and clear in the arena, but unfortunately, he couldn't rise up like a phoenix. He was carried out of there, and Triple H made good on his promise, but it wasn't the way he expected it to be. Like, he said that Michaels is done. His career is going to be ended, but he didn't win the match. And basically, if I had to describe Shawn Michaels, look at that picture. If you know about this, well, yeah, you know about it. If you know, you know. Mission passed, but he's down. He got the job done. He won the battle, but he's lost the war, basically. Okay, this one, amazing. Shawn challenged Triple H despite the uncertainty of his performance. He managed to prove everyone wrong and exceed expectations by winning, but despite this, it was Triple H who stood on top, and the amount of hatred he had for HBK, like, so damn much. I don't really see Triple H use a sledgehammer like that unless it's someone he really, really, really hates. Like, these are the roughest sledgehammer shots I've seen in storyline. Overall, 4.5 stars in my opinion. They told a great story in there. HBK's return was so damn sweet. And yeah, that's why I love this match. I love the intensity, the drama, everything. You weren't sure if HBK was going to win. You weren't sure if he was going to actually, like, show the HBK of old. You weren't sure if he was going to performances of the past. But he managed to do all of that in this match. Yeah, 4.5 in my opinion. It's one of my favorite SummerSlam matches ever. It's probably in my top 5 favorites. So yeah. Howard Finkel, meanwhile, boasted about himself when Trish Stratus interrupted. The fans booed him because it was disrespectful to HBK. Because as HBK was placed on a stretcher, he was talking about how he was at WrestleMania 2 and he's here now, stuff like that. And Trish Stratus then came out. She led Howard on before Lilian Garcia came out and kicked his ass. She even scored a freaking penalty, as you can see here. Like, that looked like a mean-ass shot. Like, what did he do to her? Now, context, he said some mean words about her previously, and now it bit him. And the main event, The Rock defends the WWE Undisputed Championship against Brock Lesnar. This one was pretty hyped. Lesnar went through a hell of a amount of guys. He trained properly for this one, so did The Rock. And also, it's cool to see the SmackDown announce team call this one. Why? Because initially they weren't. Paul Heyman, the head booker of SmackDown, didn't see how it would make sense for the Raw team to call a match featuring 2 SmackDown stars. He lobbied for them, and all they had to do was deliver. The Rock was impatient. He sprinted in there and delivered rights, but Lesnar delivered a belly-to-belly. Rocky Sucks chants intensified, which is funny to hear, and then a couple of seconds later, they're chanting Rocky, Rocky, although it's probably not the same fans. Brock initially made easy work of The Rock, and Paul Heyman got some licks in too. He kept Rocky grounded literally, and Rocky tried fighting back, but Heyman managed to do something about it. Whenever the ref's distracted, the slime ball assaults. Rock fought back, but Brock deflected all this away, and he continued targeting the ribs, and it was an effective strategy. Until he bumped into the steel post. Rock performed the back body drop, and both men were down. All of a sudden, though, both men kicked up from out of nowhere, and this felt like a movie scene, which is so damn awesome to see. Rock tried knocking down the wall, didn't work initially, but he picked up the pace, and it was good. Heyman once again caused a distraction, but he got blasted. Rock barely locked in the sharpshooter, as Lesnar was too strong. Now, it wasn't like he barely got it in. I'm just trying to say, like, Lesnar was too strong. Like, it was hard to keep it locked in. He was struggling to escape, but Rock had to use all his energy in order to keep him grounded. Lesnar considered tapping, but once again, Heyman got involved. Rock whooped his candy ass, and with the ref distracted, Lesnar used a chair. He then locked the Great One in a bear hug, and he had a slam of sorts, but he continued clasping his arms around the Rock's abdomen. He was squeezing the life out of the Great One, and the champion just couldn't find a way out. The fans booed, though, when he escaped, and he delivered some rough rights. And then Heyman stood on the apron when The Rock delivered a low blow. This didn't affect Brock that much, but that clothesline and right certainly did. Rock laid the smacking down on the next big thing, and he was looking to send the rookie through the announce table. But Heyman once again got his hands dirty. So what did Rock do? He was aware of his opponent. He catapulted the challenger straight to the steel post, and then he grabbed Heyman and hit the rock bottom through the announce table. Rock then grabbed Lesnar and threw him into the ring, and the fans chanted, "Rocky sucks." He measured the challenger for the rock bottom, and boom! He got it. 1, 2, Lesnar kicks out. Doubt ruined the champion's mind, but he opted to go for another one, and there it is. The Brock bottom. 1, 2, Rock kicks out. Both men struggled to get up, but once they did, Rock got the spine buster. The fans booed, and it was people's elbow time. But once Rock attempted the move, Lesnar from out of nowhere hits a clothesline. He then went for the F5, but Rock countered. He tried the rock bottom, but Lesnar blocked both of his attempts, and he led his arm right into an F5. 1, 2, 3. Lesnar wins. The youngest WWE champion in history. Younger than The Rock himself. Too bad there wasn't that much time for a celebration, though, as they were in a rush to end. I don't even know why, but yeah. awesome. This match, it was a bit short. Not bad, though. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was fast-paced. I like fast pace, as you know. For this one, 3 3/4, I guess. Yeah, 3 3/4. Why? Well, I didn't get bored, for one. 2, the crowd was really into it. 3, I love the spots, that kip-up thing. Lesnar targeting the ribs. Rock being resilient and being booed. That was nice to see. And the outcome. The outcome really comes into effect with the star rating, in my opinion, for this one. Because Lesnar, like, they built him up perfectly. I've never seen someone booked as perfectly as Lesnar was since then, in my opinion. I haven't seen someone as good as Lesnar was booked since 2002. So yeah, overall, 3 3/4. Overall, SummerSlam 2002, the best damn SummerSlam ever. Every match had my attention. I wasn't bored by any one of them. And even the weakest match in itself didn't even last that long, and it wasn't even bad. SummerSlam 2002, 10 out of 10. Who cares? Best damn SummerSlam. Nothing comes close except for 2013. And I highly doubt SummerSlam 2020 is going to come close. By the way, SummerSlam 2020 might be the next video, but don't count on it. Overall, the best damn SummerSlam is my favorite. I think that goes to 2008. But yes, this is the best one ever. The matches, everything. The main events, it's a shame it got overshadowed by HBK and Triple H, but it doesn't matter though. It was good enough in itself. So yeah. The mid-card matches, the RVD and Benoit match was really fun. Angle and Rey Mysterio was breathtaking. I can't say anything bad about these matches. Angle, Rey, Test, Undertaker, everyone had a quality performance. My favorite match, HBK and Triple H. Story, I really loved it. It was effective. Triple H was mean. He was a bully. HBK was resilient, and he put out his heart out there in order to win. So yeah, that's my favorite match. That's your first video. Make sure you hit a sweet chin music on the like button and perhaps an F5 on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.